I want to take a couple minutes and discuss the state of SEL in our country. It's a lot of conversations I've been a part of recently, obviously, given even just our political landscape and what society looks like right now. You know, it's a big conversation, and I think most importantly, what I want to share and express is, at least for me, it's not rooted in politics. I come from a space of what's best for students, as well as how do we ultimately set any student up to be successful in today's world. And that's really what it comes down to is, at least for me and folks that I speak with, around how are we actually taking inventory around what is happening in today's world, in today's climate, in today's industries, and how are we being proactive and responding appropriately within our education system. And I had shared yesterday on LinkedIn an article that basically talks about the decline of SEL through a student's educational journey, going from elementary all the way up to post-secondary. I believe just the steady decline as they get older, as educators get a little bit more specific in terms of content, the losing the ideas around those SEL skill sets. And I think, unfortunately, where we are is we as a country have not taken the time to truly get curious, understand, learn, and educate ourselves around the ideas of SEL. Whether you're in education or not, I guarantee you have heard that phrase of social and emotional learning being thrown out in our world. And you've probably heard it from a political lens, and you've probably seen it show up, whether that be local, state, or federal, in terms of, hey, we're going to do work around this, or we're not going to do work around this. And in my work, it unfortunately exists and doesn't exist in certain areas. And data is indicating it, research is indicating it. And I think ultimately something that I keep coming back to is when we're talking around SEL, we're talking around a lot of these interpersonal soft skill sets that we want students to develop and nurture and grow, and this understanding of self and this navigating of ourselves within the context of us as individuals as well as society in a way to ultimately make positive impact, right? It's all of these different skill sets, and it shows up so many different ways. But I think at the end of the day, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you fall in a political lens or whatever, I think ultimately we can all agree that we want students to be able to integrate into our world and be citizens who are confident, empathetic, critical thinkers, emotionally aware, really are able to handle and navigate conflict resolution, communicate effectively, make positive impacts, right? I can go on and on about the different competencies and the subgroups within social and emotional frameworks. But that's what we're talking about here. And I think what happens is these agendas get pushed without education existing around what actually are we talking about, and we start to just say this can happen and this can't happen. And my mission and my work is, how do we actually bring those skills of emotional awareness, emotional regulation, emotional management, critical thinking, empathy, effective communication, right? All these things, and how do we actually embed it into a student's learning and growth over time, right? So the way that I see it is, when a student enters schooling, whether that be pre-K or K, they're slowly starting to get exposed to different skill sets around that. How do we communicate? How do we regulate ourselves? How do we, all the different pieces. And as a student gets older and older, as they're entering middle school, as they're entering high school, as they're entering college, or into career, right? They're having these skill sets that they're nurturing, developing, and growing. And so the example I used is, and I want you to really listen to this because I think, it could be an extreme example, but I think it really paints the picture of it. It's like, if I was to go to a student in the state of Arizona, in the state of Vermont, in the state of Texas, Pennsylvania, whatever, and said, hey, Sarah, in 7th grade, do you guys read? Sarah would look at me and be like, duh, Griffin, we read? It's school. Like, what are you talking about? Like, of course we read. I see that in the same way as developing, nurturing, and growing people. If you went up to Sarah, it shouldn't matter what state Sarah lives in. Hey, Sarah, are you learning skills within your classes around how to critically think, how to communicate effectively? She should be like, duh, Griffin, it's school. It's 7th grade. Like, why would I not be working on my effective communication skills? Right? Those should all exist, because when we have students and we have learning environments that nurture that develop that, and we have educators who are trained in that, and that's where Come Home comes in, is how do we actually develop our schools and our adults in order to be ready to do this with students. When we have students who are going through 18, 16, 25, doesn't matter, they don't have to go all the way through an educational journey. It can look however, but when they integrate into life, when they integrate into the world, they have skills to regulate their emotions. They have skills to manage their emotions effectively. They have skills to communicate. They have skills to take people's perspectives, to be active listeners, right? To be empathetic. All these different things that we all want in people. It doesn't matter your political belief. And that's the sad thing, is it's becoming that, which means it's existing in certain places, which means it's being prioritized in certain spaces, even within certain different tracks. A lot of the language around it right now is, well, SEL work is very elementary. Guess what? I've done a lot of work and spanned into higher ed, where a lot of the same skill sets are existing in higher ed, and it's transforming the way educators are educating. It's transforming the way that they're building a sense of belonging and connection and skill set for their students. The thing is that these skills, just like reading, just like writing, just like these pieces, they don't exist in isolation. These skill sets around social and emotional learning need to be the foundation. It needs to be tier 1. You should be able to walk into a math class and see it exist in an elementary school, middle, high, and if you're a math major in college or graduate work. These skill sets integrate everywhere. They integrate into the sciences. They integrate into math, language arts, writing. It doesn't actually matter. We have to make sure that these are being prioritized, because here's the thing. What I'm noticing, the feedback I'm getting is, 1, students need it. 2, there's a gap in adult learning around it. And 3, the industry folks, the people who are hiring, the people who are looking to promote from within, looking to bring people into these leadership positions, they're not looking for skill set. They're not looking for tactical skills. Those can be developed. Those can be nurtured. Those can be grown, right? Those are going to come through the experience. What they're looking for is, can I hire this person because they can critically think? Can I hire this person because they can manage themselves and they can collaborate within a team? Can I promote them because they can lead effectively? Can I promote them because they know how to tap into understanding and nurturing people and growing people? That's the skill sets they're looking for. There's a gap in SEL. So my thought is, well, then why aren't we prioritizing that? My whole point to all of this is, we live in a world right now, we're in a state right now where, as a country and as a society, SEL is being deemed a certain agenda, right? Or a certain belief. And it's being positioned where this doesn't exist in schools. What I'm inviting to, and please, if you hear this and you don't agree with me, open the dialogue. Let's chat about it. I would love to hear perspective, because I'm in my perspective. I'm in my beliefs around it. I'm in my what I know to be true based on experiences. And so if you have other insights or other perspectives to bring in, I welcome that. But where we are right now is in a space where I think we can all say that those skills are important to have. Those skills are important to have within industry, within ourselves as individuals, within relationships. And so I'm looking at it going, we need to really evolve and really educate ourselves. And I continue to try to educate myself because this is relatively new in the grand scope of it all. I need to continue to educate myself. We need to continue to educate ourselves on what this stuff really means, what this stuff really looks like, and do we feel like it's impactful for students to nurture, learn, and grow? And then what does that look like on the adult side and the school side and the district and the funding side of all of it, which is where I look to play a role. And so I think we need to continue to evolve. It's sad to see that the things aren't prioritized. It's sad to see that as students are growing, it's becoming less and less a priority. And we're really just tactically setting students up and, hoping that the rest kind of take care of itself. But we're learning from students and we're learning from industry and just, humans in general, that's not working. And so we really got to take a step back and evaluate what do we have to do differently. So that's kind of my little thing around social and emotional learning. I can understand some of the agendas that have been driven and get where people may just make assumptions or deem it one way or another, but I really do believe that at the core, when we peel apart what social and emotional learning means and what social and emotional learning looks like and the impact it can have, I think no matter who we are as humans, no matter where our beliefs and values fall, I truly believe we can all agree that at a foundational level, we want every student and every human to be able to develop and have these skill sets. So